Well, gentlemen, I'm quite concerned.
He was called Nu-No-Du-Na-Tlo-Hi-Lu, the one who goes on the mountaintop, or simply the ridge.
Citizens will need to take action.
In the long struggle between Indians and Americans, few native leaders clung to the hope of peaceful coexistence longer. Few others invested more in the professed protections of the American legal system. Few set more stock in the promises of the American government and its constitution.
We have accounts of education, religion, and the arts.
By 1830, the Ridge had already struck a series of hard bargains with the United States.
Common interests we have.
In return for the safety and security of the Cherokee people and the right to remain on the land of their forefathers, the Ridge had taken pains to shed the life he had been raised to.
Antno chiki, ahani, igugasta no nai, ina get chiki, awa dena, awa tasui.
He had been born in 1771 into a Cherokee nation that stretched through the southern Appalachians, and had come of age in the landscape on which the Cherokee story had been written. The wings of the great buzzard had carved the mountains and the valleys. Uktena, the horned serpent, had made his frightful marks on the tall rocks. The Creator had set the first man and woman in this very place.
Christians had been cast out of their own Garden of Eden, but the Cherokees lived in their Eden. It's the land that they believed their ancestors had always inhabited.
Iga nela naya, igi nela, aha ne ji ha, iga nela na na. Ayetiki kilawi go hit, iga ni sanga, idion gan wat stelt of die yegi hia. In the
Ridge's youth, the Cherokee Nation had been under constant threat. As a young warrior, it was his duty to keep a wary eye on any encroachment by their near neighbors, the Shawnees, the Creeks, Choctaws, and Chickasaws, and then a new force in the southeastern mountains, the Americans. The Cherokees picked the wrong side in the American Revolution and paid dearly. The Ridge watched American riflemen burn out his own town, one of 50 they destroyed in Cherokee territory. He lashed out, took his first American scalp at age 17, and fought the United States past the point of hope.
For a generation of Cherokees, that destruction was all they knew. They had seen their world kind of evaporate around them.
The Cherokee Nation was still on its knees in 1805. Its population had dwindled to 12,000, and it had lost more than half its land. Even after the Cherokees and other tribes had signed peace treaties with the United States, the Ridge knew the safety of his people was not a given thing. He understood that the central conflict still pertained. The United States meant to have what was left of the Cherokee homeland. Ridge meant to save it. But he knew that this battle with the United States required a nimble and artful new approach. Preserving the Cherokee Nation meant walking for a time down the new path America was offering.
Please accept this, Brother Ridge, as a small gift.
What John?
The United States, at the end of the American Revolution, developed a policy called civilization. It helped fund missionary organizations to go into the Indian nations, particularly in the South, and teach Indians how to be Anglo-Americans, how to grow wheat instead of corn, how to eat meals at regular times instead of when they were hungry, how to dress in European clothing, how to speak the English language, how to pray in church at designated times, how to live the kind of life that Anglo-Americans believed was a civilized life.
The promises of the United States government were that if the Cherokees, the Creeks, the Choctaws, the Seminoles, the Chickasaws could somehow assimilate ways of living that were more like their white neighbors, that they could be the political and social equal of their white neighbors. Literally, Thomas Jefferson once assured the Indian leaders in a speech that he believed they could become the equal of white people.
You will unite yourselves with us, President Jefferson said. Join our great councils and form one people with us, and we shall all be Americans. You will mix with us by marriage. Your blood will run within our veins, and will spread with us over this great continent.
Jonah, Kosta, Inge, så det är tidla. John, Flintlock.
John Ross, the future Cherokee chief, grew up at the crossroads of an emerging world, where white settlers and Indians were just beginning a strange new dance of accommodation. John's mother, Molly, a member of the Bird Clan, had married a Scotsman, Daniel Ross. Ross was among the growing number of white men who took Cherokee wives and gained access to land and trade in the bargain.
John.
There would have been many different classes of Cherokee making their way in and out of the store, from full-blood traditional people to the wealthier mixed-blood families that were just beginning to establish themselves.
The Rosses spoke English at home. John had English-speaking tutors. But John Ross was a Cherokee because of his mother's blood, an accepted member of the Bird Clan. He grew up surrounded by people whose lives ran to traditional Cherokee rhythms. He was proud to have a Cherokee name, Kuwis-Kuwi, or mysterious little white bird.
John.
There's a story that's told about the time when he was 5, and his father had bought a new little suit for him to wear at the time of Green Corn Dance, and his mother dressed him up in his white man's suit. And the other children teased him so unmercifully that supposedly he came back home and insisted on being allowed to change into the everyday clothes of the other Cherokee children before he would go back out and join the festivities.